What are the applications of centrifugation? This centrifugation is very good in diagnostic laboratories for blood and urine tests, because as I've told you, blood is nothing but colloid, and we can separate the red blood cells, white blood cells, platelets from plasma just by this centrifugal machine. It is also used in dairies and home to separate butter from cream or cream from milk. And one other good example is it is used in washing machines, automatic washing machine, to squeeze out water from the wet clothes. That is also good example of centrifugation. Now, another thing is separating funnel. What is this separating funnel? It is a specially designed funnel in which we are having two immiscible liquids. Immiscible means जो आपस में dissolve नहीं होते, which are insoluble to each other. Suppose we are taking oil and water, और उनकी density अलग अलग है. So if I ask you which one is heavier, you may say that yes, water is heavier, वो नीचे जाएगा. So here you can see the example of this separating funnel. आपने एक mixture लिया, oil and water, उसको इसमें डाल दिया, थोड़ी देर छोड़ दिया. Leaving it for a while, you observe that एक separating visible boundary बन जाएगी. अभी बताया था मैंने visible boundary. So once you get this visible boundary, क्या होगा? आपके पास दो अलग अलग layers दिखेंगे. Now once you open this stopcock, till this water comes into the beaker, again close this stopcock. आपने stopcock open किया, water collect किया, बंद कर दिया. And then change the beaker, place another beaker, again open the stopcock and collect kerosene into that. So here, by using this, we can easily separate two immiscible liquid. By using this specially designed funnel, we call it as separating funnel. कौन से mixture separate होंगे? जो immiscible हैं, जिनकी densities different है. Let us move further. So as I've told you and explained this separating funnel, what are the applications of separating funnel? One very good example, we can separate oil from water. Another, we can extract iron from its ore. This is used in the extraction of iron. Application of separating funnel. Now another question is, how we can separate a mixture of salt and camphor? This is a good activity. We know that camphor is a sublime substance. What is sublimation? Sublimation is when a substance, a solid substance, directly changing into its vapor form. We call it as sublimation. And camphor is one of the good example of sublime substance. So we can see that this camphor can directly changes from solid to vapor state. And good examples are naphthalene balls, camphor, solid iodine, ammonium chloride. These are good examples of this sublimation process. So इस sublimation process से क्या हुआ बच्चों? हमने एक ऐसा sublimation process select किया है in which one substance which is sublime can be separated from another substance which is not sublime by using this apparatus. We call it as sublimation apparatus. When you take say example of one sublime substance से either ammonium chloride और camphor आप ले लीजिए, और आपने क्या किया, यहाँ पे पूरा सेटअप लगाया बर्नर का, उसके ऊपर एक चाइना डिश में आपने अमोनियम क्लोराइड को लिया and place an inverted funnel over it whose end is plugged with cotton plug. आपने उसको इस तरह से सेटअप कर लिया. What will happen? जैसे ही आप उसको हीट करेंगे, since this substance ammonium chloride or camphor is a sublime substance, on heating this sublime can directly goes into vapor form. Now यहाँ temperature ज़्यादा, यहाँ temperature कम है. On the stem of this funnel the temperature is very less. What will happen? The vapors which starts rising up condense होके यहीं पे ही deposit हो जाएंगे. Here you can see the deposition on the inner walls of funnel. So ये यहाँ deposit हो गई. Keep on doing this process on heating. जितना भी ammonium chloride था या camphor था वो सारा यहाँ आके deposit हो गया. Once we done with that, we remove this funnel, scratch the inner sides and collect that ammonium chloride. This is how we can separate this ammonium chloride or camphor with any impurity, say salt or sand which is not sublime. So by using this sublimation process, we can easily separate these sublime substances. Now let us move further and we'll talk about another example is chromatography. What is chromatography? When we talk about chromatography, we say that it is one of the technique which is based on different rate of absorption. क्या किया और किस तरह से किया? First thing is chromatography consists of two words, chroma and graphy. Chroma means color and graphy means writing. So when we are writing or we are separating some colored components, then we are using this technique. So what we do in this technique, we take a thin strip of filter paper. Suppose I have taken a thin strip of filter paper, and then we draw a line by pencil and take about 3 centimeter around and take the ink mixture, place a drop on this line at the middle point, at the center of this line, and allow it to dry. What will happen once we allow it to dry? Now we'll place this filter paper in a jar that has water into it, and we need to place it in such a way so that only the lower part of this filter paper will dip. This ink drop will not be into this solution. So what will happen? Because of adsorption, the water level rises up and it takes this ink drop along with it. Since this ink drop consists of many components, say A component, B component, C component. So different components have different concentration and rate of adsorption, so they get adsorbed at different points of filter paper. So from this technique, we can easily find out that this ink consists of how many components. So by even a single drop of mixture, we can separate it into different components. Secondly, we come to know how many components are there in that mixture, and that's why this chromatography is very important. So what we have done, we just place the filter paper in this glass or beaker that containing water, so that the ink drop is just above the water level. So whenever it rises up, it takes that ink along with it, and we can separate those components present in ink. So what is the conclusion by doing this activity? We can say that the water, which is the solvent in the ink we use, and the dye which is soluble, water takes up that component along with it, and thus we can easily find out the number of components at different part of that filter paper in this chromatography process. Now, what are the applications of chromatography? When we talk about applications, first thing is it is used to separate colors in dye. As I have told you, it is used to separate colored components. As the name chromatography itself says, colored components, colorgraphy. So it is also used to separate pigments from natural colors. It is also used to separate drugs from blood. So this is how the application of chromatography is very useful. Our next separation technique is distillation. So distillation is used when we are having two miscible liquids. Miscible means soluble, दोनों एक दूसरे में dissolve हो सके, but they have different boiling point. So if they differ in their boiling point, we can use this distillation process. What we do in this process, we take a mixture of two components. Say I have taken acetone and water, and we set up an apparatus of burner, इसको heat किया. Heat करने से क्या होगा? हीट करने से जिसका टेम्परेचर कम है, जिसका बॉइलिंग पॉइंट कम है, से एसीटोन विच हैज लोअर बॉइलिंग पॉइंट, इट चेंजेस इनटू वेपर्स, इट स्टार्ट्स कन्वर्टिंग इनटू वेपर्स. दीज वेपर्स आर कलेक्टेड इनटू दिस कंडेंसेट. ये वेपर्स यहाँ कलेक्ट हो जाएंगे, यहाँ पे कंडेंस होंगे. क्यों कंडेंस होंगे? यू कैन सी दिस आउटर जैकेट ऑन दिस ट्यूब. दिस आउटर जैकेट इज हैविंग सम फ्लोइंग वाटर विच इज कनेक्टेड थ्रू द टैप. आपने इसको एक ट्यूब से कनेक्ट कर दिया जो टैप से कनेक्टेड है, और इसमें ठंडा पानी आ रहा है. The vapors which are at very high temperature passes through this tube, जहाँ पे ठंडा पानी है, it takes the heat of all those vapors, उसको ठंडा कर दिया, उसके टेम्परेचर को कम कर दिया. And now once the temperature of this vapor goes down, it changes into liquid, and that liquid has been collected in this beaker. We call it as receiver. So water which has higher boiling point यहीं रह गया, and the other liquid which has lower boiling point changes into vapor form, gets condensed and collected into the receiver. This is how we can easily separate the mixture into its components.